Telegram is the only app that has open source reproducible builds for both Android and iOS. Why is this important?
So you need reproducible builds in order to verify that the app really does what it claims, really encrypts data in a way that it is described on its website. For that, you need to make your apps open source for any researchers to have a look at it. So Telegram has been open source since 2013. Apps like WhatsApp have never been open source, so you don't really know what they're doing and how exactly they encrypt your messages. What's important here, though, is to understand whether the version of the app that you download from the App Store corresponds exactly to the source code that you can view on GitHub. And for that, you need reproducible builds. As you said, Telegram is the only popular messaging app that does that. We allow people to make sure, both on Android and iOS, that the source code of Telegram on GitHub and the app you're actually using is the same app. I think it's incredibly important, not just to gain people's trust, but just to stay transparent and open about it. When I make this claim that Telegram's secret chats are the most secure way of communicating, I really mean it, because I haven't seen any fact contradicting this claim. At least among the popular messaging apps, you say WhatsApp, Signal, iMessage. None of them have reproducible builds on both iOS and Android. None of them had, at least at the same level, put so much effort into making sure that the algorithms that you use in order to encrypt data are not algorithms that have been handed to you by some agency in order to create a honeypot. At least from what I know about our competitors, I don't think they went through the same process.
So we should say that the entirety of the software stack in Telegram is done from scratch internally to Telegram. So we're talking about not just the encryption, but everything running on the servers. So the servers are built out, the hardware and the software are all done internally, which is one of the ways you reduce the attack surface on the entire stack that handles the messages.
It does make it more secure, because if Snowden's revelations taught us anything, is that very often open source tools, modules, libraries that are used by everybody ended up having certain flaws and security issues that make your software vulnerable. It's also a way to make sure you're doing things the most efficient way possible. But it's extremely difficult to do that. You really have to have exceptional talent in your team to achieve this level of thoroughness, to go to a low level of coding that allows you to recreate from scratch database engines, web servers, entire programming languages. Because the programming language we use on the back end to develop the API for the client apps is also entirely built by our team.
Yeah, so minimizing the reliance on open source libraries is extremely difficult, because most companies, they rely on open source libraries.
Well, I wouldn't say we completely independent from that. We use Linux on the back end. There's no way of avoiding it for us at the moment. But for the most part, we are much more self-reliant than most other apps.